How did one coffee turn into me standing in my office lobby while a receptionist watched me sign for legal papers? Why did my husband ask one calm question about my colleague's wife and then move like he already knew the ending? What happens when you mock a man in public and he answers you in public, but only with lawful steps? My name is Araminta Laine, but most people called me Minty. I was 34, and I worked as a project coordinator at a software company downtown. My job was ordinary, but I liked to act like it was rare. I liked being the one who kept everything moving. I liked when people said I was the reason things worked. Evan, my husband, was 36. He worked with numbers too, but in a different way. He did estimates for building jobs. He came home tired and quiet. I used to say he was stable. Later I started saying he was boring. I still told myself I was a good wife. I said I carried the house, the kids, and my job. I said I deserved to feel wanted. That week, I was already hungry for a new kind of attention. I did not say it like that out loud. I said I needed adult conversation. I said Evan had stopped seeing me. I said he only cared about bills and routines. If anyone asked, I said it was normal marriage stress. In my head, I said it was unfair. On Tuesday, Gavin Pierce asked if I wanted coffee after our morning stand-up. He was a sales manager. He was the type who smiled before he spoke. He always looked like he had time for people. He asked if we could talk about a client timeline. I said yes because I wanted to look helpful. I also liked that he chose me. I should say this clearly. I knew he was married. I knew he had a wife. I had seen a photo on his desk, but I told myself that a coffee was not a crime. I told myself it was work. I did not tell Evan. I told myself I did not need to. Evan asked about my day in small ways, like he always did. He asked what I was working on and what time I would be home. I said I had meetings. That was true, in a way. It just was not the meeting he thought. The cafe was 2 blocks from my office. It smelled like sweet milk and burnt beans. Gavin arrived first. He asked if I wanted the same drink I always ordered. I said that was funny because I had never had coffee with him before. He said he noticed things. I liked that line too much. We talked about work for maybe 10 minutes. Then Gavin asked if I always looked so tense. I said the project had been heavy. He asked if it was only the project. I said I was also tired at home. He asked if Evan helped. I said Evan helped, but not in the ways that mattered. I felt proud of that sentence. It sounded like a movie line. It also made me feel like the main character. Gavin leaned forward and asked if I ever felt invisible. I said sometimes. He nodded like he understood my whole life. He said he had felt invisible too. He did not say his wife's name. That was the first thing I noticed. He talked around her like she was furniture. I told myself he was only being kind. I told myself I was only taking kindness. I did not think about how I would explain that feeling later. My phone buzzed on the table. Evan's name lit up the screen. I almost smiled, because that used to be normal. Then I saw the message preview, and my face changed before I could stop it. Evan asked where I was, and then he asked a second question. He asked if Gavin's wife would like the picture of us at that table. He did not add emojis. He did not add anger words. He only asked. That calm question made my stomach turn. For a second, I did not breathe. I felt heat in my ears. I looked at the cafe window, and I thought someone must have seen us. I thought maybe Bree from work walked by. I thought maybe someone posted something. I hated that I could not control who saw me. Gavin asked what happened. I told him Evan was being strange again. I said Evan sometimes got jealous and dramatic. I wanted Gavin to see Evan as a problem, not me as a choice maker. Gavin asked if Evan tracked me. I said Evan liked to act like he owned my time. That was not true, but it sounded strong, so I used it. I typed back to Evan and said I was in a quick work meeting. I did not answer his question about Gavin's wife. I told myself I did not have to answer something that was meant to shame me. That was my favorite trick. If a question made me uncomfortable, I called it an attack. Gavin suggested we leave. He said people in our office loved gossip. I agreed too fast. I said I did not want drama. That was a lie, but it was a useful lie. It made me look like a person who avoided trouble instead of a person who fed it. In the office elevator, I watched my reflection in the metal wall. I looked like a woman who had done nothing wrong, if you only saw my face. Gavin asked if I wanted to talk later. I said maybe, and I said we should keep it professional. I said it in a way that made it sound like a secret. Gavin smiled like he understood. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. At home, the kitchen felt too bright. The kids were at after-school care, so the house was quiet. Evan stood at the counter with his sleeves rolled up. He asked how my day went. I said it was busy. He asked where I was at lunch. I said I grabbed something near the office. He asked why I did not mention the coffee meeting. I said it was last minute and not important. Evan asked if I knew Gavin's wife. I said no. Evan asked if Gavin's wife would be okay with coffee dates. I said it was not a date and Evan was trying to twist things. Evan asked if I could read his message again and answer the question plainly. I said he was being controlling and paranoid, and I said it was exhausting. Evan did not raise his voice. That made me feel angry, because I needed him to look like the bad guy. If he stayed calm, my story did not work as well. I asked why he always assumed the worst. I said he did not trust me because he had issues. I said he should talk to someone about his insecurity. I watched him take that in without reacting. It felt like hitting a pillow. Behind him, his phone lit up on the counter. A calendar reminder popped up with a simple title and a random time, like a place name and 9:10 a.m. He turned the screen down before I could read more. I told myself it was work. Still, I noticed. Evan opened a cabinet and took out 2 mugs. He used to hand me mine. This time he set both on the counter, far apart, like lines on a map. Then he poured water for tea. He asked if we could talk later when the kids were home, so it would stay calm. I said he was using the kids as a shield. He did not answer that. He only nodded once, like he was filing my words away. When the kids came home, I forced my smile. Noah asked if Dad was coming to his school game on Friday. Evan said yes. Elsie asked if we could have pancakes tomorrow. I said yes. I spoke loud and sweet, like a performance. I wanted to prove I was fine. After bedtime, Evan asked again why I hid the coffee. I said I did not hide it, and I said he was making stories. He asked if I would be okay if he went for coffee with a married woman and did not tell me. I said that was different because women did not act like men. I knew it was a weak point, but I used it anyway. Evan looked at me for a long moment. His face did not show rage. It showed something tighter, like he was learning a new shape. He said he needed clarity going forward. I said he needed to stop policing me. He took his mug and walked toward the hallway without slamming anything. I stood alone in the kitchen and tried to feel victorious. I told myself I had protected my freedom. I told myself Evan was overreacting. Then my phone buzzed again, and the screen showed a message preview from an unknown number. My throat went dry before I even opened it. I stared at the unknown number for a full minute. The preview said my first name, and then a short question about whether I was still meeting Gavin. My hands went cold. I told myself it was spam. I told myself it was a joke. I also told myself it had to be Evan, because he liked to scare me. That thought made me angry enough to breathe again. I did not show Evan the message. I deleted it and told myself that was smart. If I showed it, he would ask more questions. If he asked more questions, I would have to answer. I did not want to answer. The next morning at work, I walked in like normal. I smiled at the receptionist. I said good morning to people who barely knew me. I was careful with my face. I did not want anyone to guess I was shaken. I told myself a confident woman did not look guilty. In the break room, Bree Hollis poured coffee and watched me too closely. She asked if I was okay. I said I did not sleep well. She asked if Evan was being weird again. I paused, then I said yes. Bree's eyes lit up like I gave her a gift. She said it sounded like control. I said it was hard, living with someone who needed to check on me. I used careful words, like I was describing a problem in a meeting. Bree asked if Evan read my messages. I said he acted like he wanted to. That was not a real fact, but it sounded like one. Bree said men like that always got worse. I nodded like she was protecting me. I did not say that Evan had only asked a calm question. I did not say I was the one who hid the coffee. Later, in the open plan area, Gavin walked by my desk. He asked if I wanted to review a client deck over lunch. I said yes, and I told myself it was normal teamwork. He asked if Evan had cooled down. I said Evan was still in his moods. Gavin asked if I felt safe. I said Evan could be intense. I chose that word on purpose. It could mean anything, and people filled it in with their own fear. Gavin offered to move our lunch off-site so nobody would talk. I said that was smart. I liked that he cared about my image. I also liked that he wanted time with me. At lunch, Bree came too. Even though she was not needed, she said she wanted a break from the office. I understood what she wanted. She wanted a story. She asked questions like she was helping, but her tone was excited. She asked how long Evan had been jealous. I said it had been building for years. She asked if he ever embarrassed me in public. I said he did, even though he had not. Gavin listened and nodded. He asked if I felt trapped. I said sometimes. I hated the word trapped, but I used it because it made me look like a victim. Bree said I deserved freedom. She said a confident woman should not have to report her lunch plans. I agreed fast. I said I was not doing anything wrong, and Evan still treated me like I was. I did not hear myself, or I heard myself and liked it. After lunch, Bree posted a short quote on her social media. It was one of those know your worth posts. She did not write my name, but she sent it to me and said it was for me. I told her it was sweet. I also felt powerful. It was like building a wall around my version of events. That afternoon, I checked my phone and saw a missed call with no caller ID. I stared at it. I told myself it was nothing. Then I told myself it was Evan again. I wanted proof he was tracking me. I wanted a reason to be angry. I saved the number as a blank contact anyway, just in case it called again. I did not tell myself why. When I got home, Evan was in the driveway with the trash bin. He looked tired. He asked how my day went. I said it was busy. He asked if I could talk after the kids went to bed. I said he always picked moments when I was tired. Evan said he wanted clarity. I said he wanted control. Inside, the kitchen smelled like dinner prep. Evan had cooked. That should have made me feel grateful, but I felt annoyed instead. Kindness from him made my story harder. If he was kind, then I looked worse. I did not like that feeling, so I pushed it away. While I put my bag down, I noticed a folder on the counter. The label said Utilities. Next to it was another that said Bank. That was normal in a house, but it looked too neat, too arranged. Evan noticed me looking. He did not explain. He just slid them into a drawer and closed it with a soft click. At dinner, Noah talked about school and asked Evan to help with a science poster. Evan said yes. Elsie asked for extra fruit. Evan gave it to her. I watched them and told myself Evan was doing it to look good. I told myself he wanted to win the kids. The truth was simpler, but I did not want simple. After the kids went to bed, Evan asked again about the coffee. He asked why I did not mention it. I said I forgot. He asked why I looked pale when he texted. I said he was imagining things. He asked if Gavin's wife knew. I said he was being disgusting by bringing another woman into it. Evan said he only asked because he would not want to be lied to if roles were reversed. I said he always made everything about himself. Evan asked if I told people at work that he was controlling. I pretended to be shocked. I said I did not talk about our marriage at work. That was a lie, and I said it smoothly. Evan said Bree had liked a post about controlling men, and his co-worker had commented. I said that proved Evan had people spying on me. Evan said nobody spied. They just saw it. I said he was twisting things again. Evan did not shout. He did not slam doors. He simply said he would not argue in circles. That sentence made my chest tighten. I wanted him to fight. A fight would prove he was the villain. His calm felt like a trap I could not see. Later that night, I went to the laundry room and heard a low hum. It was brief, like a machine working. I stepped closer and realized it was the small shredder by the shelf. It stopped as soon as I entered. Evan stood there with a neutral face. He asked if I needed the washer. I said no. He said okay and walked past me. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. I told myself Evan was being dramatic with his folders and his quiet moods. I told myself he was trying to scare me into obedience. I promised myself I would not give him that power. Then my phone lit up again. Bree had tagged me in a post about taking back your life. I scrolled and saw a comment under it from someone I recognized from Evan's world. My throat tightened, but I still pressed like. I told myself I was choosing myself. I told myself I was brave. In the dark, I could hear Evan moving in the hallway, slow and careful, like he did not want to wake the kids. I waited for him to come in and argue. He did not. Instead, I heard a soft beep from his phone, the kind you hear when something uploads, and then silence. The rooftop bar was on the 12th floor of a hotel near our office. It was supposed to be a simple team celebration for finishing a client rollout. Bree made it sound like a big moment. She said we deserved to be seen. She said we should show the world. We were not just background workers. I agreed because I liked being seen. I told Evan I would be home a little late. He asked what time. I said I was not sure. He asked who would be there. I said the team. He asked if Gavin would be there. I acted offended and said he was being obsessive. Evan said he only asked because I had not been honest lately. I said he was rewriting history. Evan went quiet and said, okay. At the bar, the air smelled like citrus and perfume. The city lights looked clean from that height. People from the office stood in loose groups. Everyone held a glass like it was part of their job. Bree hugged me and said I looked free tonight. I laughed and said it was just a work thing. She asked if Evan was still upset. I said Evan always found a reason. Gavin arrived a few minutes later. He asked if I wanted a drink. I said yes. He asked if I was okay. I said I was tired of being questioned at home. He said he understood and asked if I wanted to stand somewhere quieter. I said yes, even though it was not really quieter. It was just less visible from one angle. Bree took photos the whole time. She asked people to move closer. She asked us to smile like we loved each other. When she pointed the camera at me and Gavin, Gavin put his hand on my back. It was not a grab. It was not graphic. It was just too familiar. I did not step away. I told myself it was normal body language. I told myself I was not responsible for other people's thoughts. Someone said we should toast. Bree lifted her glass and said a loud line about strong women and weak men who could not handle them. People laughed. I laughed too. It felt good in the moment, like a clean win. Then I saw Evan near the entrance. He did not stomp in. He did not shout my name. He stood still and looked around, like he was checking who was there. He wore his normal jacket. His face was calm, but not soft. It was the calm that made me feel small. Bree noticed him and whispered something to the group. A few heads turned. A few smiles tightened. I felt the room choose a side before anyone even spoke. Evan walked closer. He asked if we could talk for a minute. I said we were celebrating and he was being dramatic. Evan asked what time I planned to come home. I said he was embarrassing me. Evan asked if I wanted to leave with him now. I said no, and I said he should stop trying to control me in front of everyone. Gavin stepped forward a little. He asked Evan if everything was okay. Evan looked at him and said he did not want a scene. Evan asked me again, calmly, if I was coming home. I could have answered like an adult. Instead, I turned to the group. I said, Evan always did this. I said he acted like my manager. I said he liked to show up and make me feel guilty. I watched people react. Some looked entertained. Some looked uncomfortable. I aimed for entertained. Bree added fuel without thinking. She said something about jealous husbands being pathetic. Someone laughed. I laughed louder than them. That was the moment I pushed it too far. I was not just defending myself. I was performing cruelty. Evan's eyes moved across the faces like he was memorizing them. He did not argue with Bree. He did not insult anyone. He only said he would not talk about our marriage in front of co-workers. He asked me one last time if I would come with him. I said no. I told him he could not just appear and demand things. I said he should go home and calm down. I said it with a smile, like I was the reasonable one. Evan nodded once. Then he turned and walked away. A few people clapped lightly, like it was a joke ending. Bree grinned at me like I won a prize. I felt a rush, then a sharp, empty feeling right after. I told myself the empty feeling was Evan's fault. I told myself he forced me to do this. Gavin asked if I was okay. I said I was fine, and I said Evan loved power games. Gavin said Evan looked cold. I said he was always cold. That was another lie that sounded clean. I stayed another hour, but I could not enjoy it. I kept checking my phone, waiting for Evan to send angry texts. He did not. The silence made me restless. I asked Bree if she thought Evan would tell people lies about me. Bree said I should tell my story first. She said I should own the narrative. I liked that phrase. It sounded like a shield. When I finally left, I ordered a rideshare. Gavin walked me to the pickup spot. He asked if he should text me later. I said yes, and I told myself it was about work follow-up. Gavin asked if Evan ever scared me. I said he scared me with his moods. I knew what I was doing. I was planting a label. I did it anyway. The car ride home felt too long. I watched street lights slide across the window. I tried to rehearse what I would say if Evan confronted me. I planned tears. I planned anger. I planned a story where Evan was unreasonable and I was tired. At home, the lights in the hallway were off. Evan had left one small lamp on near the stairs. The house smelled like detergent, like someone cleaned late. I stepped onto the landing and saw the guest room door closed. I told myself he was sulking in there. I went into the kitchen to get water. 2 mugs sat on the counter again, far apart. My stomach turned at how deliberate it looked. On the table, I saw his keyring. There was a new key on it, plain and silver. I did not ask what it was for, but I felt it like a warning. When I walked past the study, I saw the printer tray pulled out slightly. A blank page sat there, fresh. It was like he printed something and then stopped. I froze for a second, then kept walking. I told myself it was nothing. In the bedroom, Evan was not there. I heard him in the guest room, moving quietly. I did not knock. I wanted him to come to me. I wanted him to beg. He did not. My phone buzzed. It was a new photo from Bree in the group chat. It showed me laughing with Gavin in the background, his hand near my waist. The caption said, "We looked so happy." People reacted with hearts. I stared at the photo until my face felt hot. I told myself it was innocent. I told myself Evan would have to accept it. Then I heard a small click from the hallway, like a drawer locking, and Evan's steps moving away, steady and slow, like he had all the time in the world. The next day started with small normal things, and that made me feel worse. Evan packed lunches like nothing happened. He cut fruit for Elsie and put a note in Noah's bag. He did not use big words. He did not ask me for an apology. He acted like a man who decided not to chase. I told myself he was doing it to punish me. I told myself he wanted me to feel guilty on purpose. I kept repeating that story, because it helped me stay angry. Anger was easier than shame. In the morning, I drove to the school pickup line earlier than usual because I wanted to look like the stable parent. The line moved slow. Cars crawled forward. Parents stared at their phones. I watched other couples talk through open windows, calm and normal. It made my skin itch. Noah climbed into the back seat and asked why Dad slept in the guest room. He asked it like a simple fact, not like an attack. I told him Dad was working late and wanted quiet. That was a lie. I said it smoothly anyway. Elsie asked if Dad was mad. I told her Dad was just tired. I said it in a sweet voice, like I was protecting them. In my head, I blamed Evan for making this happen. I blamed him because I did not want to blame myself. When we got home, Evan was in the kitchen wiping the counter. 2 mugs were on opposite sides again. He asked how pickup went. I said fine. He asked if Noah said anything. I said no. That was another lie, but it felt harmless in the moment. Evan asked if we could talk about routines for the week. He said the kids needed steady mornings. He asked what time I planned to be home each day. I heard how normal his questions were. I still answered like they were threats. I said he was making a schedule like I was his employee. Evan said it was not about control, it was about the children. I said he was hiding behind the children. Evan did not argue back. He only nodded and wrote something down in his phone. Later, I went to the supermarket with the kids. Evan came too, which annoyed me. I wanted to feel free. I wanted to act like I did not have to report to anyone. Having him beside me made me feel watched, even when he said nothing. At checkout, Evan separated items into 2 groups. One group was kid snacks, milk, bread, and soap. The other group was my extra things, like fancy coffee pods and skincare. He paid for the basics and looked at me calmly. He asked if I wanted to add the other items on my card. I stared at him like he insulted me. I said he was being petty. I said he was trying to humiliate me in front of the cashier. Evan said it was not humiliation, it was budgeting. He said we needed clear lines right now. The cashier pretended not to hear. I felt heat in my face and told myself Evan planned this. I told myself he wanted me to look bad. I did not consider the simple idea that he was protecting money. In the parking lot, I snapped that he was acting cold. Evan asked if I wanted to sit down and talk without the kids listening. I said no, because if we talked quietly, my emotions would not win. I needed drama to feel right. That night, I went to the office for a short, late meeting. It was real, but I also liked being out. In the break room, my phone buzzed again with a no-caller ID missed call. Right after that, a message came in from Gavin. He asked if I was okay after last night. I told him Evan was acting strange. I told Gavin I felt like I had to watch every word at home. Gavin said he understood and asked if I wanted to walk by the river this weekend. I said maybe, and my chest felt light for a second. When I got back to my desk, I saw Evan had sent me a simple text. He asked what time I would be home. No accusations, no threats. I ignored it for 15 minutes on purpose. I told myself I was setting boundaries. The truth was, I wanted power. At home, Evan did not comment on my late arrival. He asked if the kids ate enough. He asked if I could confirm Noah's school game time. I answered with short words like I was busy. I wanted him to feel my distance. I noticed a sticky note on the fridge. It said, "Bring forms." No details, no name, just that. I stared at it longer than I should. Evan saw me looking and asked if I needed something from the store. I said no. He nodded and walked away. After the kids went to bed, Evan sat at the table with his laptop. I passed behind him and saw a spreadsheet open. I could not read the top because he angled the screen, but I saw rows and dates. I saw short notes like times and places. I felt a cold pinch in my stomach. I told myself it was work. Then I remembered his folders that said bank and utilities. I decided I needed backup, so I called my mother. The next evening, we went to Evan's parents' house for dinner. Marianne liked dinner at a long table. Doug liked polite talk. I did not want polite talk. I wanted an audience. I wanted people to see Evan as the problem. Trish came too, with Tara. Tara arrived loud and bright. She hugged me and asked if I was surviving. I said it was hard at home. Evan's jaw tightened, but he stayed quiet. During dinner, Marianne asked how things were going. Her voice was calm, not sweet. I said Evan had been jealous and controlling lately. I said he showed up at a work event to monitor me. I said it like it was a fact everyone should agree with. Tara nodded fast and said, men like that were insecure. Trish said I should not accept that behavior. Marianne asked what Evan actually did. Evan looked at his plate and said nothing. Marianne waited. I hated the wait, so I filled it. I said, Evan texted me weird questions about Gavin's wife. I said it was inappropriate. I said Evan wanted to shame me. Doug asked who Gavin was. I said a co-worker. Marianne asked if Gavin was married. I said yes, but it did not matter, because it was just coffee. Marianne said it mattered. She said married people did not play games like that. I felt my face harden. I told her she was judging me. Marianne said she was asking for truth, not judging. Tara said Marianne always took Evan's side. Trish said Marianne should support me as the mother of her grandkids. Evan finally spoke. He said he wanted peace for the children. He said he would not fight at the table. He asked everyone to keep the kids out of adult issues. Noah was at the end of the table, quiet, listening too hard. Elsie pushed peas around her plate and watched faces. Noah asked if Mom and Dad were mad at each other because of Gavin. He said Gavin's name like it had been in the air so long it became a family word. My stomach dropped, but I forced a smile. I told Noah he misunderstood. Evan did not correct him. Evan only told Noah he loved him and that adults were handling things. After dinner, in the hallway, Marianne pulled me aside. She asked if I understood what I was risking. I said she was trying to scare me. She said she was trying to protect her son and her grandchildren. I said Evan was not a victim. Marianne said his calm did not mean he was weak. That line made me angry because it sounded true. When we left, Evan buckled the kids into the car without rushing. He did not look at me with hate. He looked at me like I was a problem he could solve with steps, not feelings. On the drive home, his phone chimed once with a soft alert, like a reminder. He did not tell me what it was. He only kept his eyes on the road. The fundraiser at the community hall was supposed to be for the school. They called it a winter giving night. Parents brought baked goods and silent auction baskets. People wore name tags and acted friendly in a loud way. I told myself it was the perfect place to show I was fine. I also told myself it was a perfect place to make Evan look unreasonable without him doing anything. I asked Evan to come with me. He hesitated, then said he would, because the kids wanted to see the craft table. I heard the real reason in his tone. He wanted to be where the children were. He did not want me telling a story without him present. On the drive there, I tried to provoke him. I asked if he planned to monitor me all night. He said he planned to help the kids and go home. I said he sounded cold. He said he was tired of fighting. That answer annoyed me more than any insult would have. Inside the hall, Tara spotted me first. She waved like it was a party. Bree was with her, holding her phone up already. Bree asked if I wanted a photo by the banner. I said yes. I made sure Evan was in the frame, but not close to me. I wanted the picture to say we were together, yet apart. It was a small cruelty that felt like control. People from my office were there too, because our company sponsored a basket. A few co-workers smiled at me like they knew something. I smiled back like I owned it. I told myself that if I looked confident, nobody could call me guilty. Evan stayed near the kids. Noah ran to a table with model cars. Elsie went straight for glitter glue. Evan helped her with the cap and wiped her hands. He looked like the steady parent, and I hated how easy it looked. I told myself he was performing. I told myself he was doing it to win points. Bree leaned close and asked if Evan was still acting controlling. I said yes, and I said he had been showing up places to check on me. Bree said I should not live like that. Tara added that men like him only understood public shame. I did not stop them. I let their words build a stage for me. At the snack table, I started telling a story to a small circle. I said Evan had texted me weird questions about a co-worker's wife. I said it was gross. I said he tried to embarrass me at a work event. A couple of moms made faces. One dad laughed the wrong way, like it was entertainment. I saw phones lift, not fully obvious, but enough. I pretended not to notice. Evan walked over at the worst moment, holding a paper cup of juice for Elsie. He heard the end of my story. He did not interrupt me. He simply asked if we could talk somewhere quieter. I said there was nothing to talk about, and I said he should stop acting jealous in front of people. Evan said he was not jealous. He was trying to keep our private issues private. I said that was rich, coming from him, because he started it with his texts. Bree jumped in and said Evan should respect my freedom. Tara said Evan needed to stop policing his wife. Evan looked at them and said he would not argue with my friends. He asked me again, calmly, if we could step outside for 1 minute. I said no, because I knew that 1 minute would not be about my victory. It would be about facts. I turned to the group and acted like I was the patient one. I said Evan always used a quiet tone to make me look crazy. I said he liked to pretend he was the victim. I watched faces react. Some nodded. Some looked away. I chose to focus on the ones who nodded. Evan's mother, Marianne, arrived late with Doug. She came straight to the kids. She did not greet me first. That small choice felt like an insult, so I made it bigger in my head. Marianne saw the circle around me and Evan, and she asked what was going on. Tara answered for me and said Evan had been harassing me with jealous questions. Marianne asked what jealous questions. I said he asked if Gavin's wife liked seeing me at coffee. Marianne's eyes sharpened. She asked who Gavin was, again, and why his wife was part of the story. I said Marianne was obsessing over details. Marianne said details were how adults stayed honest. I hated that sentence. It made me feel like a child who got caught with sticky hands. Evan looked tired. He told Marianne and Doug that he would not discuss it there. He said the kids were in the room. He said he wanted the night to stay calm for them. Then he bent down and asked Noah if he wanted to pick a raffle ticket. Noah nodded fast, like he wanted to disappear into a normal task. The rest of the night felt like walking on thin ice. I kept trying to pull Evan into a reaction. I asked why he was acting like a robot. He said he did not want a public fight. I said he was pretending to be noble. He said he was trying to be a good father. That answer gave me nothing to attack without sounding evil, so I changed tactics. After the fundraiser, I went to the gym to clear my head. It was not even my usual gym. It was closer to Gavin's route home. I told myself I was allowed to have friends. I told myself Evan could not control where I walked. In the gym lobby, Gavin appeared like it was a coincidence. He asked if I was okay. I said Evan had been humiliating me with his jealousy. Gavin said that sounded stressful. He asked if I wanted to talk somewhere quiet. I said we should keep it brief. Then I stayed longer than brief. When I got home, it was late. The driveway light was on. Evan was in the garage, not pacing, not angry, just standing by a shelf like he had been organizing. I saw a neat stack of labeled folders. I saw a new key on his ring again. I smelled faint toner, like a printer had been running somewhere earlier. Evan asked if I had a good workout. I said yes. He asked if I met anyone there. I said he was being paranoid again. Evan did not argue. He asked if we could talk about the week schedule for the kids. He said he needed clear mornings and clear pickups. I said he was treating me like a suspect. Evan said he was treating the situation like something that required structure. I laughed and asked if he planned to make a spreadsheet about my breathing. Evan did not smile. He looked at me and said he was done chasing answers. He said he would handle everything properly from now on. I asked what that meant. He said it meant the right steps, the right way, and no more drama. Then he walked past me into the house, and the garage door closed behind him with a slow, steady sound. The next morning, I dressed like it was a normal workday. I chose a blazer that made me look serious. I told myself I could outsmart anything with the right face. I drove to the office early so I could breathe before people arrived. In the lobby, the air smelled like polished stone and coffee from the kiosk. The receptionist waved and asked how I was. I said I was fine. My voice sounded too bright. I walked toward the elevators and tried not to look around, like looking around would admit I expected trouble. A woman stepped into my path near the mail counter. She wore a plain coat and held a clipboard. She asked if I was Araminta Laine. I froze for half a second. Then I said yes, because denying my name felt childish. She asked me to confirm my date of birth. I felt heat rush into my face. I asked what this was about. She said she was serving legal documents. People behind me slowed down. I could feel eyes. I told her she had the wrong person. She asked me again to confirm my identity, very calm. The receptionist leaned forward slightly, like she could not help herself. I said it was harassment, and I said my husband was trying to scare me. The woman said she did not know my husband, and she was only doing her job. She held out a packet and asked me to accept it. I took it because my hands moved before my brain did. The top page said our names. It said petition and temporary orders. My stomach turned. I flipped too fast and my fingers shook. I saw words about parenting time and the family home. I saw clear dates. I saw rules about money and accounts, written like a fence. My brain tried to tell me it was fake. My brain also knew it was not. I walked into the elevator with the packet pressed to my chest. My ears rang. I told myself Evan was being cruel. I told myself he was trying to control me with paper. Then I remembered his calm tone, and the folders, and the schedules. It did not feel sudden anymore. It felt planned. At my floor, HR was waiting. Our HR manager, Denise, asked if I could come into a conference room for a quick conversation. She said it like a normal work thing. My throat tightened. I asked why. She said there was a complaint connected to work conduct and work time. I said it was personal, and my husband was retaliating. Denise said the complaint did not come from my husband. Inside the conference room, Denise sat with another manager. A folder was on the table. It was not mine. Denise said they needed to ask questions and document answers. She asked if I had been meeting Gavin Pierce outside work during work hours. I laughed once, sharp and fake. I said Gavin and I only talked about clients. Denise asked if I wanted to change that answer after reviewing timestamps. I said I did not know what she meant. Denise opened the folder and slid a few pages across the table. I saw screenshots of messages with times. I saw a coffee receipt photo. I saw a picture from the rooftop bar where Gavin stood too close. I saw an entry that matched a day I told the team I was in a vendor call. The pages were not dramatic. That was the worst part. They were plain. I said the messages were taken out of context. I said people joked at work all the time. Denise said the issue was not jokes. It was honesty and policy. She asked if I used sick time or work time to meet a colleague for non-work reasons. I said my husband must have hacked me. Denise said these materials did not come from my husband, and IT confirmed there was no account breach. My phone buzzed. It was Gavin. I did not answer. Denise asked if I wanted a break. I said no, because a break would look like guilt. Denise asked if I understood why this was serious. I said it was discrimination, and I said people punished confident women. The other manager asked if I wanted to bring a support person from HR policy. I said I did not need support. Denise said Gavin had been asked to come in too. She said his wife had contacted the company that morning. She said Jocelyn Pierce provided her own records and asked the company to address misuse of work events for personal conduct. Hearing Jocelyn's name out loud made me feel exposed in a new way. I wanted to say it was not my problem. I wanted to say Jocelyn should blame Gavin, but my mouth stayed closed. Denise said calmly that I was being placed on administrative leave while they reviewed the evidence. She said my access would be paused and my projects would be reassigned. She said it was standard. I heard standard and wanted to scream. I said Evan was ruining my life. Denise said Evan was not part of this meeting. When I left the conference room, 2 co-workers looked up from their desks at the same time. Their faces went blank fast. I held the packet tighter. In the lobby again, security walked near me, not touching me, just guiding. My phone buzzed with a school message. The school said they confirmed an updated pickup plan, effective today, and listed Evan's name first. Through the glass doors, I saw Evan's car at the curb. He sat still, hands on the wheel, looking forward like this was a normal errand. Then he checked the time, got out, and started walking toward the entrance to sign in for the kids.